Live from the Jersey Shore to the world. Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Take the show wherever you go. Download the free Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. We have Dr. Harrell on the line, but we're going to hold off on him for 1 second, and instead we're going to take Dee from Lakewood. Good morning.
Good morning, and I would like more than a second. First of all, Jeremy, I want to compliment you on touching on this issue about whether it's anti-Semitism or not. Your eyes are wide open. It has to do with the bottom line, taxes and money. First of all, I want to say that Rabbi is as bad as Obama sitting at a baseball game. He should set the example. We attended a meeting Monday night, and there were wall-to-wall people there, Hasidic and people of my persuasion, Roman Catholic. I live in Lakewood 3 years. I moved here from Bricktown 3 years ago, lived there for 40 years, knew there were problems. A different outlook when I now live in Lakewood and attend meetings. The police come in and ask the boys to clear the aisle. Police left, right back in, paying no attention to rules.
Right.
If you and I were to put in a kitchen in our basement without a permit, what do you think would happen? We'd have big problems. We wouldn't be able and would not think of suing the town. As senior citizens, there are many of us here. We've paid taxes and we paid back 30 or 40 years as homeowners, paying for the public education we got. I see where the people are upset because it all falls on the taxpayer.
Right. I agree with you.
And that's the bottom line. It has nothing to do with your religion. Had I felt that way, would I move into the heart of Lakewood? No way.
Right.
And I compliment you. I believe you're Jewish, and for you to say that had to be very hard, but your eyes are opened. You do not have blinders on.
Well, I appreciate that. I fundamentally agree with you, and I think that, you know, we need to continue to look at this as a legal issue and as a taxation issue and as a doing the right thing issue. And it just, like I said, it just kind of gets me. It gets me angry when any minority or any group wants to feels that they receive special dispensation because of their. And I want to thank you so much for calling in. And I don't mean to cut you short, but I do have to get to Dr. Harrell. But thank you so much for sharing a few minutes with us.
One thing.
Yes.
I would like you to mention an organization called SAG, Senior Action Group.
Okay.
And to attend meetings to see and try to iron out this problem. Courtesy busing means it's a courtesy.
Right.
And they pushed it off on the Latino community here in Lakewood. There are only 2,000 Latino children. And you get a bus, and I understand the religion. They can't put the boys with the girls.
Right.
But if you live in the United States of America, you should conform. They're worried about the people from Syria coming and bringing their ideas. Conform, pray in your house. Don't break the rules. And then that rabbi setting a terrible example for the rest of his followers. Thank you for listening, and I listen to you every morning. 5:30 doesn't come quick enough.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, by the way, I thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words. For me, sometimes 5:30 comes a little too quickly, but that's okay. Have a great day, okay?
I remember the days when I started work at 6. I hear you.
All right. Take care. We'll
Especially
talk again.
in the winter time.
All right. Bye-bye.
God bless.
Thank you. On the line right now with us, Dr. Russ Harrell. I'm sorry, Dr. Harrell. That's a tough act to follow. Good morning, sir.
No, it's great. You have a devoted listeners. That's good.
I'm telling you.
Good to have conversation.
It is, and it just so happens very much a lightning rod issue, and it's been a busy day here at the Jersey Shore already. But Dr. Howe, you are the president of the medical staff at Community Medical Center. What does that mean, Dr. Harrell? I think we hear these titles, and what does that mean?
Well, according to my wife, it means I'm not home for dinner anymore, that I have meetings almost every day of the week. But no, it's an honor and a privilege, to lead 700 physicians and try to, develop a consensus and a mission and move healthcare forward. Healthcare is changing all the time. And so I was elected president a little over a year ago. I have another 9 months to serve as the president. So we have a what's called a medical executive committee, which is the chairman of each of the different departments in the hospital. We meet monthly to go over different items, agenda items, quality items, to try to lead and guide the medical staff forward. And then there's lots of subcommittees. I also sit on the board of trustees, as do you. So, that's a position where you have people from the community as well as administrators from the hospital, and then physician representatives to try to represent all the different ideas and perspectives that affect the hospital.
So it sounds like a lot going on there, Dr. Harrell. Sounds like I understand now where your wife's coming from.
Yeah, there's always something going on, but see, between scheduled meetings and then also just things that come up. So I spend a fair amount of time, and I'm an actively practicing board certified gynecologist. So, I see patients every day. So, get up, go to work, do what I have to do in the office, do surgeries, whatever. But it's fun. I mean, I took this on, as I said to my wife. I go, if you want a voice at the table, you have to be at the table.
Right. And
with everything going on in healthcare, and being a 25 plus year member of the medical staff and community, I wanted to give back, and I felt that I had some perspective, and I don't look at myself as a radical or a passive either. So. I had some ideas and I've surrounded myself with good leaders, and we're trying to do the right thing for the patients. I mean, frankly, it's not about anything other than the patients and good care for the patients every day. And that's the way we approach it. I think you had Dr. DiMartino, one of our GI guys. He's on the board as well, a really good, solid citizen. A real strong gastroenterology department, and we're always fighting for the best outcome for the patient.
Right. And I think you mentioned, did you say there were 700 doctors on staff?
Yes. Yeah, about
wow.
700.
700 doctors. So think about that. So 700 doctors, you have a tremendous nursing staff, right, and a great nursing team. We have the support staff, administration. So there's continuing medical education almost every week. What does that entail?
Well, there's administrative functions. There's a department that I work closely with that is in charge of medical education as well as credentialing. And there's Angela Clute is the director of that, and there's other ladies, Terry, Gwen, Susan. They all work for the hospital, but they interact and interface with the physicians to, bring speakers in to have continuing medical education. As your listeners may know, that physicians are obliged to continue their education throughout their career. We have to keep track of that, so we have to go to lectures or courses or whatnot. So the hospital provides that, on a regular basis for physicians. Usually it's a lunchtime thing where someone comes in, an expert in the field, has a discussion, and then there's questions and answers, and you have to fill out a little form, documenting that you attended and what you got out of it. But the hospital's invested in the quality of their physicians. And of course, nurses are invited to come if they want. You mentioned the nursing staff, and I think we have an excellent nursing staff. And the physicians always work very closely. We're not a teaching hospital,
right?
So we don't have residents. So it's really direct care, nurses to doctors. There's not that middleman, if you will. So the physicians and nurses work very closely together, and we have a great relationship with the nursing staff.
Right. You mentioned you started to mention a little bit about how much medicine has changed over the years. When we come back, because we have to take a short break, when we come back, I'd love for you to kind of share with us, how, in your eyes, how medicine has changed over the years, and maybe how you see medicine heading in the not too distant future. Dr. Russ Harrell, president of the medical staff, Community Medical Center. Be right back after this.
Rush Limbaugh today at noon. More Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin coming up next. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Now, back to Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 and WOBMAM.com.
We're back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin here with Dr. Russ Harrell, president of Community Medical Center medical staff. So, Dr. Harrell, how have you seen medicine has changed in recent years?
Well, I would say technology, number one. And when I say technology, I don't necessarily mean information technology, but as an OBGYN, one of the first things I saw change over time was the technology in taking care of premature infants, the respirators and whatnot. So there's always technology moving forward. Actually, most of my practice is urogynecology, and actually I put in a device. It's like a pacemaker for the bladder. And the same company, Medtronic, makes things for brain stimulation and pain, and so there's a lot of high-end technology available. But the latest thing has been the information technology. Everyone remembers Superstorm Sandy. Well, the hospital community went and changed over and went to electronic medical records right when Sandy hit. So that was a double whammy. But it was educating all the physicians, all the nurses, to be able to use the information there on the computer to document patient care. So it's been a mixed blessing. I'm sure there are people that would tell you that they want to jump off a bridge because they have to use the computer, and
right.
You can only imagine. But overall, I think it's a positive thing. You're able to access information, results of tests and X-rays and whatnot at your fingertips, and the government's pretty much mandated that even in our offices. So most physicians have that in the offices, and everybody's kind of integrated that into their practice as they see fit. I mean, I don't use the computer in the exam room because I think it's kind of rude. Other patients will tell me they see doctors that never look at them; they just put their head in the computer and they're typing away. Luckily, I don't. My practice isn't like that, so I don't have to do that. But so anyway, there's information technology that's moved things forward. And then cost containment. Everyone, the insurance companies, the government is very conscious of, healthcare costs. So they're trying to measure outcomes with the amount of money that's spent. So there's a huge focus on that all the time while it's watching quality. You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So, you want to provide patients with quality care, at the right price and not put a risk at it. Sometimes the government gets a little crazy. I heard them talking about they didn't want to do mammograms for women over 80 years old. And I thought, well, I'm surprised that not to go into politics, but I'm surprised that the politicians haven't jumped on that, because the number one risk factor for breast cancer is age. So, why would you disenfranchise the people that are most at risk by not giving them mammograms at 80?
Right.
I mean, to me, that says you're just writing off all the women over 80, which is a bad thing. So that's where a good doctor comes in, where they're able to sort through what they think is best for you as the patient. It's all about relationships.
Sure.
So it's all about one-on-one. When you're in that exam room with your patient, it's just you and the patient.
Right. Dr. Harrell, let me ask you a question. So when we come back, I really want to understand how you decided to get into OBGYN. But the first thing that comes to mind is, as an OBGYN, is it okay to use the term "you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater"? Couldn't that be disturbing to some of your patients when you use terminology like that? I just want
Freudian slip, I think.
Yeah, I want you to think about that in the break, because I find that very disturbing, Dr. Harrell. When we come back with Dr. Harrell, we're going to learn how he made his choices, learn a little bit more about Doctor's Day coming up on March 30th. Dr. Russ Harrell, president of the medical staff, Community Medical Center, back after this.
Coming up next, the latest from WOBM News, the Town Square, New Jersey News Network, and Fox News Radio. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from the Bob Levy Broadcast Center, overlooking the Toms River. It's time to get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Be a part of the show. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Welcome back, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 News Talk Radio, streaming live on the Radio Pup app at WOBMAM.com, 732-505-1160. It's 50 degrees, heading up to 70 today, 7:35 in the morning, Wednesday, March 23rd. We're here with Dr. Russ Harrell, he's the president of the medical staff at Community Medical Center, and he's an OBGYN. So, Dr. Harrell, did you always know that's what you wanted to do? I'm always interested to know how doctors decide what they want to specialize in.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it was always something I wanted to do. My mother was a nurse, and I just always wanted to be a doctor. And so, I went to medical school. You go to college, you go to medical school, and then when you're in medical school, you have to decide, if you want to specialize in, internal medicine, pediatrics, whatever. And I chose OBGYN because it was a little bit of medicine, so you were able to, write prescriptions and treat people non-surgically, but you were also able to do surgery. So it kind of was the best of both worlds in my mind, and you didn't, lose the continuity of the patients. As an internist, you treat chronic conditions, but if they need surgery, you have to have their appendix out or whatever, then you have to share that patient or send that patient to somebody else. So with OBGYN, you were able to do things medically and surgically, and she was delivering somebody's baby. I've delivered young ladies now that I delivered, so that makes me sound old. But yeah, it's a very gratifying experience, and you become part of the family, truthfully.
Right.
So I look forward to going to work every day because I meet old friends. I see old friends every day.
Well, I will tell you, you alluded to Dr. DiMartino earlier. I think you made a much better choice than he did in that regard, because I don't know if given the choice of the colon or what you chose, I think it's a pretty easy decision. I think there's something fundamentally, warped making going the other way. But of course, my wife is a labor and delivery nurse by career choice and about to get her master's degree. So I certainly understand where you're coming from. So a big believer there.
Well, the nurses in labor and delivery are fabulous. And as much as the patients remember who delivered their baby, they really remember who the nurse was, because the nurses spend a lot more time with them, and there's such an integral part. Like we were alluding to before, the nursing staff at Community is just superb. And, of course, I have a long-standing, strong relationship with all the nurses in labor and delivery, and they're fabulous.
Yeah, let's be honest, okay? So, I consider, again, this is the second time I'm going to call myself an expert in a field, but having 3 kids of my own, I have to say, my perception of the doctor involved in the birthing process is basically you come in like it's like the closer in a baseball game. You come in for like the last 3 outs. You basically come in, you catch, right? You deliver, then you move along, and you get all like the high fives, like you just won the World Series. Meanwhile, the nurse is like the one dealing with the pain, with the hours leading up to the final event, and then you get to take the victory lap. I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just saying.
No,
there's nothing. By the way, there's nothing wrong with that. That was your choice, and I think it was an educated choice, as I previously said.
Yeah. It's funny. I always said my father was a policeman, and he used to say people give him a bad time about policemen standing around eating donuts, not doing anything. And he goes, I always told people I get paid for what I know how to do in case I have to.
Right.
And that's kind of an obstetrician. It's like you could have a baby out under a tree in a field if everything's going right, but if everything's not going right,
right.
I'm the guy you want to see walk through the door. So it's the nurses do a fabulous job, but it is a team effort, and the patients, I think, appreciate, both parties' expertise.
Absolutely, and I appreciate how you rationalize that. Anyway, let's move along. Doctor's Day, March 30th. Tell me about that.
Well, I forget the history of it, but it was back in the late 30s. The Doctor's Day started, and it's just a day, as many days, where they have Nurses Day and, Teachers Day and all that, but there's Doctor's Day is the 30th, and so it's in honor of for all the physicians and what they do for their patients and giving back to their community. So at the hospital, it's a pretty big deal. We have a breakfast, and it's usually well attended. It's on kind of a floating thing. The breakfast lasts from, like, say, 6 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock in the morning. And, it's good because you get to bump into a lot of your colleagues that you don't always see. You may talk to them on the telephone or text them about patients. But yeah, it's a real positive thing. The hospital's, behind all that. The hospital's been very supportive of the medical staff over time. And so, yeah, we look forward to it every year. So it's nice for people to say thanks,
Right. The first Doctor's Day was held on March 30th, 1933 in beautiful Winder, Georgia. I'm sure,
okay.
I don't recall it, because that was a little bit before my time. But yeah, so there you go. And in 1990, the U.S. Senate and House of Representatives passed a resolution designating Doctor's Day a national holiday, celebrated on March 30th. By the way, Dr. Harrell, did you know that this was Women's History Month?
Yeah, I did. I think one of my patients told me that.
You got me beat on that one, too. All right.
Yeah. Well, you learn a lot. I mean, I try to learn as much as I can from my patients, because they read the Enquirer, and, I have to keep up.
Right. Well, that's what makes you a great practitioner. So, Dr. Harrell, first of all, as a fellow board member at Community Medical Center, I could tell you, just listening to you in board meetings and the amount of involvement you have in making the hospital a better institution every day, working towards creating higher quality care every day, keeping a very challenging. It's very challenging keeping a group of doctors together, mobilized, in line. It's kind of like herding cats, I'm sure, at times. But you do a fantastic job, very incredibly well respected within the community. And I just want to, on behalf of my family and on behalf of the Toms River community, thank you for a great job you're doing at Community Medical Center.
Oh, well, thanks. That means a lot. I appreciate it. It's nice, like I say, it's nice to be appreciated. And, I and the rest of the doctors and the leaders of the hospital, we are trying, honestly, to make things better every day and deliver quality care, for the patients. And you're our neighbors, you're our friends, you're our family. So, that's the way we look at it. You do for your patients what you do for your family.
Absolutely. Dr. Russ Harrell, president of the medical staff, Community Medical Center, thank you for joining us this morning. We'll be right back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin.
Everything you need to know about the Jersey Shore. This is Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.